Hello everybody. As you can tell from the title of this video, I don't have the Mustang anymore. I spent the last 3.5 years with the Mustang. I've had great memories with it. I've driven at incredible speeds, became a much better driver, had a lot of happy moments. I also had a lot of frustrating moments with it as well. So when the Mustang was first announced, I fell in love with it immediately. I really wanted to get one. It was really out of my budget and I had to wait a couple of years before I could buy one. When I got a good paying job, I saw that I could afford it. I think owning a Mustang was becoming more and more real. So in November 2015, finally, I contacted Coons Ford Baltimore and I was trying to get a good out-of-the-door price. However, none of the dealerships in the area, not even Coons or their partners, had an orange Mustang. I really wanted to get an orange Mustang because there weren't too many around. So they were nice enough to allow me to factory order a Mustang and get it pretty much at the same price as a car on the lot. My car was delivered to the dealership after 6 weeks, which is pretty quick. A lot of people had 8 weeks, 10 weeks. It would take forever sometimes. So once I got the call, the car was delivered. I went, got in the car and head to the dealership. Still remember that day. It was so exciting. Could not believe. I was pinching myself saying that, oh my God, I'm gonna get a Mustang. I finally afford it. I could finally get it. And after we finished the paperwork, I got the car. As I was driving home, the weather started drizzling. Again, it was December, end of December. And the temperatures were upper 40s, lower 50s, somewhere there. The car comes with summer tires and you're usually not supposed to drive in a cold weather. So I was worried on the way back, it's my first rear-wheel drive car, what if I mess it up? So I took it easy, drive safely. And that was the beginning of the journey with the Mustang. So I did 2 HPDs, 8 track crosses, I think 1 autocross. I've put about 23,000 miles. I know that's not a lot of miles. It wasn't my daily driver. If I hadn't commuted with my wife to work and driven her car, I think I would have put in more miles because I would be driving to work. It would be my everyday car. Fortunately, it wasn't. And I got to drive the car really fast to the limits, learned a lot about car control. Speaking of car control, I put winter tires and wheels on the car. So every time during the winter, I'll be driving, nice and safely. And if it would snow, it was 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of snow, I would go find an empty parking lot, empty road, and drift around. And that taught me a lot about car control and controlling the car on a slide, and always expect it and be ready for it. I modified the car. It had, aftermarket catback exhaust, had stainless steel brake lines, camber plates, sub-frame braces, track day pads, and miscellaneous visual stuff. I didn't modify the car too heavily. After 3.5 years of awesome memories and good experiences, I think it's time to move on. This was a tough decision. Really identified myself with the Mustang. I thought I was gonna own it for a while, pay it off, show it to my kids. For me, the car that I would love to own for a long time would probably be a Shelby GT350 or a GT500. Unfortunately, those are way too expensive. I thought a lot about this, but I didn't think for too long. I don't like to think very long about some stuff. It tires me out, wears me out. So I just made a decision pretty quickly. But over the years, I've considered multiple cars to, replace the Mustang. Some of these were the Porsche Cayman, Civic Type R, Genesis G70, Mazda Miata, Kia Stinger, Veloster N, and the BMW M2 Competition. And as you can see, my list is very random. These cars are in different classes, different performance levels. You can't really compare them A to B, but these are the cars that excite me. When I look at them, it makes me want to have them. But unfortunately, one thing that's common with a lot of them is their price. Biggest limitation for me is the budget. Therefore, the M2, the Cayman, the Stinger, Type R, and the G70 are out of my budget. They were just out of the list. I could have made them work in my budget, but it would be very difficult and I don't think it would be worth it for a tighter budget I will have in the future. So that leaves me with the Veloster N and the Miata. If I needed a car that's fun only for back road carving and track, I would have picked the Miata because they're about the same price. Both of them are really fun and good cars. One requirement I have is practicality. So I'll be a dad towards the end of the year, and having that third door is going to be very practical in case me and my wife and the kid need to drive somewhere with my car. We already have an SUV in the house, so the Veloster is not going to be our main car. But in case, I need to take the baby somewhere, I need to take it to Cars and Coffee, I just want that flexibility. I could have worked that out with the Mustang as well, put the car seat in the back, but it will just be a hassle. And this morning I was at Cars and Coffee and spoke to a gentleman with a BMW 2-door. I didn't pay attention to which model he had, but he had 2 car seats, and His kids were old enough to be front facing, but he was saying that it was a challenge to put the baby when they were rear facing because they were younger. So I think practicality wise, you know, Veloster N, I would say slightly more practical than the Mustang. In some cases a lot more practical. Having the third door for that is very useful. I'm not going to be carrying like, you know, 2 adults in the back. Small convenience, I think it's going to be nice. As you can tell from the title of the video, yes, I did get a Veloster N. So it's a huge shift from the Mustang. You know, I went from a sporty muscle car to a hot hatch. You know, I've always had like a soft spot in my heart for hot hatchbacks. My first car was a hatchback. It was a Ford Focus. It was a base model, so not really a hot hatch. You know, coming from a Mustang, the footprint is much smaller. You know, the hood is smaller. Car feels much smaller. It's about 600 pounds lighter than the Mustang. It's still a lot of fun. It puts a smile on my face every time I take my foot off the pedal and I hear the exhaust sound. Since the car's exhaust is active, you know, I can change the modes from Sport Plus, which is the loudest, to normal mode, which I can use for everyday driving when I'm going to work. And, you know, I just want a peaceful drive. When I'm driving with my wife, trying to have a conversation maybe, you know, I could put it into normal mode. We could hear each other a little bit better. So speaking of things I love about the Veloster, talk about some of the things that kind of bother me that I don't like about the Mustang. Since I got an aftermarket exhaust for the Mustang, it sounds amazing. I got it for a reason. I've had it pretty much the whole time I've had the car. Unfortunately, driving more regularly, the exhaust can get annoying. And especially on the highway when you're driving, the 6-gear drone is very annoying. It can get very tiring over long drives. I know I could have picked an exhaust with less drone. It's hard to know a lot of that stuff, and over time, you know, people's tolerances change, and you know, as I'm getting older, you know, comfort level changes. You know, the exhaust sounds amazing at the track though, like, you know, wide open throttle when I'm passing next to a wall or something. The echoes are amazing. I love that. But my Mustang is not a 100% track car. Keeping like a good balance on livability is important for me. I also do not like the manual transmission on the Mustang. It's weird going in and out of gear sometimes at certain speeds is weird. I get gear lockouts. With this car, now that I've driven for more than a week, for almost 2 weeks, you know, I love the shifter. It's direct, notchy. Auto rev matching makes it much easier. So, you know, there's not many things that I dislike about the Mustang. Obviously, you know, I picked the car, I bought that car, I've had it for more than 3 years. But I think, you know, with the Mustang, you know, I could have paid it off, have no loan, be able to do whatever I want with the car. To make that car more challenging, something that could push me further. I feel like with the Mustang, to push further, I need to modify the car a little bit more. I know seat time is more important, but I feel like I could have gotten more out of the car with a, like say, a better suspension, improve a lot of things, but those things cost a lot of money. And I do not have disposable income to throw into mods right now. I would love to. If I had, I probably would have kept the Mustang. But with the Veloster, it's going to be a new challenge. You know, after this, all the track cross videos I'll be posting, or any track videos I'll be posting, well, obviously will be with the Veloster N. I'll try to do more videos about it, maybe like a review or something like that. If you have any questions about it, or if you want me to cover anything, just let me know. For now, I'll go enjoy this car. I'll see you guys in the next video.